Cool day, about 65 degrees. Okay, so what I've done, I sent my AR in, and it should probably, I sent it in actually Sunday, and I don't know if they might be waiting for John to get his in to put them both out, but I think it'll probably be coming out here, probably, I would say by this week, hopefully tomorrow. But if not, actually, Fergus is going to make up, if anybody wants, he's going to make up some copies, so because you'll have access to it anyway, but that way you guys, if you want it tonight, then you can take some with you. I think, realistically, a lot of you know the general stuff about, what happened, well, not necessarily what happened, but about my training and stuff. Basically how I designed my AAR was, or how I wrote it, was I told the story and then I kind of broke it down as to what I did to prepare, what I thought was important, mainly what worked, a few things that didn't work. So I think that's really probably kind of the best way to explain it. And then if you have questions, no questions.
Whatever.
No, if you have questions, if there's something that sparks a specific question right away, then ask, or you can jot it down. Either way you want to do it, it's obviously pretty informal. But so that's how I'll do it, and we'll do the question and answer session and be gone. The first thing here's my disclaimer. Selection was the most physical, mental, spiritual thing, whatever you want to say, I've ever done. But by and large, it has been the most emotional roller coaster I've ever experienced. So I can almost guarantee that at some point throughout this, emotions are going to be stirred up again, and just even thinking about the magnitude of it, but really thinking about how much all of you did to get me to the point where I was able to be successful. I can't even express what that feels like. So as awesome as it was to finish, it's that much more, that much greater that all of you basically were right there with me and got me into that. There's a really key thing that I'll tell you about that really got me through, or that really aided in getting me through. So I'll just show you. I had the travel squad tab under my hat the whole time. The only time I took it off was when I put it on the back of my ruck for the long march, or for the long walk. But every time, whenever I'd be doing something or whatever, as long as I was looking forward, I would see, the first thing I see is the travel squad tab. And so that, just having that and knowing that even though you guys weren't there with me physically, you were there with me, and you got me there, and that was a huge mental boost, a huge feeling of support. And I know, there were obviously, lots of posts and stuff during it that I was privy to later on. So I know that activity was going on, but just being there, and I kind of had an idea that there would be, just from the previous ones, knowing how everybody posts their support and whatnot. But when you're in the mix, there's no way of really getting a grasp of that. But I had you guys right there, and again, whenever I would be looking forward, then I would see that, and so I'd want everybody to know how huge that was for me to have that. Okay, enough of that. Actually, I have to back up. Kind of leading up into it, I think I talked to a couple people about how I felt, but I got really not anxious. I was just ready for it to start. So the week prior, that probably starting about that Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, I just kind of got, I mean, I felt I was pumped, I was trained, I felt ready. So I just wanted to kick it off and get it going. So I was pretty anxious leading up, really right up until Wednesday night. And then I get up Thursday morning and see that everybody had changed their profile pics. I can't even express again how awesome that was to feel that support. It kind of all that anxiousness kind of went away at that point, and I kind of had this just kind of a calm about me on Thursday morning, and seeing that, Fergus called me that morning, just kind of see how I was feeling, and I think even on the phone with him, I just saw the everybody's profile pics, and again, I think even on the phone I was emotional, but it was a very calming, self-assuring feeling that I got from that. So I just, again, I can't thank everybody enough for just that. I mean, even though it was a small gesture, it was had a huge effect, and I think going into it with that just calmness, that supportive feeling, really helped me a lot. Kind of the day, I really kind of visualized. I use a lot of visualization, and I think visualization is it really kind of sets you up for success in different things. I don't know if people have used that or not, but for me, I visualized the day of selection. I didn't know the events that I'd be doing, but I kind of had an idea, so I would visualize, what I thought we'd be doing. One thing I really did a lot of is I visualized the index. And not knowing where it was, I actually thought it was going to be at Alki. I thought we would end up, I thought we'd start at Alki, and I thought we would end at Alki. I thought the whole thing was going to be downtown Seattle, basically. So I had kind of prepped. Fortunately, I had options, but I had prepped in my mind and gear-wise for being on pavement in downtown Seattle. That obviously was not the case. But I visualized being on the beach, doing, finishing, basically getting smoked again. I used Paige's AAR and what she said as far as just kind of really getting smoked at the end. So that's how I set up what I visualized to be the index. I visualized a lot more of us being there, but I think just seeing that in my mind, creating that in my mind, really helped me to kind of subconsciously have that as my, I was going to that no matter what. I didn't have any options as to not get to that, but I think visualizing it really kind of solidified it and helped me to achieve it. I visualized, being in the water, doing flutter kicks, having us stand up. I visualized the flag being held. I didn't know that it would be Sean and Brian, which was an awesome surprise. Yeah, I think that was huge. Just seeing myself in my mind finishing and kind of even when I was visualizing, even before it, it brought on emotion. It brought on excitement. I didn't know, obviously the magnitude of it, but I think for me that's a key thing is seeing what you want. Rehearsing it in your mind, even though the specifics may be a little bit different. The effect, I think, is paramount. So if that's not something that you do, at least try and employ it and see how it works for you. So that's kind of how I had visualized my day. I kind of planned the day and pretty much kind of stuck to what I planned on doing. I ate a moderate breakfast and probably, just like a moderate lunch. I wanted to be nourished, but I didn't want to be too full. Kind of the day prior to it, the 2 days prior to it, I basically did carb loaded. Carb loaded, I don't know if everybody's familiar with that or not, but I was on a very low carb, high protein, high fat diet for it. And the reason that I was doing that is to set my body up so that it relied on fats for energy sources as opposed to carbohydrates. Our normal, the way we eat normally, for the most part, your body will use carbohydrates for energy, and those, that can easily be depleted in 2 and 3 hours. A lot of the guys that have not been successful, I talk to anybody that, like I say, anybody that either finished or didn't finish, and no matter how far they went, 3 hours in, 10 hours in, I talked to them, try to get information. I found out that a lot of people were just getting gassed out, and it's basically because of their diet and not having access to food or carbohydrates when your body was relying on it. And so fortunately I was able to, I can't even remember how I came across it, but I was messaging someone and he sent me this eating plan. So that's what I was doing. But the 2 days prior to it, I did a carb, and carb loading is basically, it's kind of a mainstay for athletes and doing things. I don't know if cyclists do it or not, but I think it's pretty common. So that's what I did a couple nights prior to it, and it was nice, being able to go to Olive Garden and stock up. I definitely like that because I hadn't been eating much carbs for a long time. And then right up probably about an hour prior to the start time, I had like a really, really high carb. It's actually, I got it at a bike shop, but it's a really high carb shake. And so I wanted to do everything that I could to set myself up for, to have enough energy, because I was basically considering like a 4 to 6 hour, easy 4 to 6 hour PT session right off the bat. So that's what I was kind of planning for. And you can only do so much, but that's kind of how I set myself up for the start of it. Going into it, we basically arrived at the start point probably about 5:15, 5:30, and I did make the mistake of comparing myself. I knew, obviously the guys that I've been training with, but a couple of the other guys that were coming from out of state, I'd never met them, and there was a guy from Seattle that I hadn't met before that didn't come to the ruck off. But I did find that, okay, I was kind of sizing, and really I had no reason to do it because it really doesn't matter. But I did size myself up. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm the oldest guy here, geez, and I'm the smallest or near smallest in size and stature. None of that matters. It doesn't matter, your size, your stature. The only thing that matters in selection, and the only thing that I should have concentrated on, is the size of your heart and the willingness to do whatever it takes to succeed. And that's, that's probably paramount in life too. But that is really the only thing that had any significance in succeeding. And so I was really, it was really irrelevant of the other people. And selection is an individual event, but it's probably a natural thing to compare yourself. But yeah, there was no reason to, and it's really all about heart and like I say, the willingness to do whatever it takes to succeed. When Cadre Bird arrived, it was nice. I mean, when I saw him, it's kind of a mixed emotion thing because I had spoke to him considerably right after, actually right during class 5, I guess it was 5:20, 5:16 and 5:20 in Seattle. He came up. I met him then. asked a lot of questions about selection. He gave me some suggestions. One big suggestion was that I needed to drop some weight as far as muscle mass is concerned. He basically told me that a lot of the guys who are finishing and are successful are leaner, and the more muscle mass that you have, the more lactic acid buildup, the more cramping you're subject to. So I lost from April 20th to basically right up until the day prior to selection. I lost 15 pounds, and from the start of selection to the end, I lost 8 pounds in those 48 hours. When I went home and weighed myself, I haven't been 145 pounds since high school. Wow, what happened? Oh my. But
did you gain it back? Yeah.
Yeah, ice cream and hamburgers. Wonderful thing. So he, like I say, he gave me a lot of suggestions, but I kind of thought it was a little bit odd because about 2 months prior to selection, there was never any more conversation, and it turns out that was why. He basically cut everything off, and when he found out that he was going to be the cadre. So seeing him as cadre kind of had kind of a pro and con to it. I was glad that he was cadre because I knew him. I hadn't met the other two, cadre Joel or Tyler. So just kind of knowing the individual was kind of nice, and not that would have changed anything because they were definitely, all three were all business from the time from 1800 on Thursday until the index. It was all business. But it also, I think it gave me a little bit more of a push and an incentive to make sure that I stayed strong all the time. And there were a lot of things that actually that supported me staying strong. But that was another aspect that, man, I gotta, we talked a lot, and he gave me a lot of suggestions, stuff. I can't let him down, and all the help that he gave me as far as information and just trying to suggest things, it would be all for naught if I don't succeed and don't push through. So that was, kind of had a little good and evil deal going on there. Basically, as soon as they got there, loaded us up into the truck, and so there's 11 guys and 11 packs getting into the back of it. I mean, it's a full-size pickup, but size depletes really quickly when you put 11 people and packs in the back of there. So, all of a sudden you're, guys are sitting on your, I think my left leg was under somebody and my right leg was bent so far back that, I could barely even take the pain. But it's just he just threw everybody in the truck, get in, and then we're off. So you just had to go with, whatever position you were in, that's where we stayed. What I didn't realize at first, and then was basically continued through the whole thing, is they covered us up with a tarp. So wherever we went, you never saw where we were going or until we arrived there and they took the tarp off. Part of the, there's a lot of ambiguity in selection, and we're so used to in life where you're always used to knowing where you are, where you're going, whatnot. So taking that aspect of it out and kind of bringing in the unknown is just another. It's a mental thing. It really wouldn't have mattered if we were in New York, Detroit, or freaking Egypt. Once it started, our location was really irrelevant. Like I say, that could have been done anywhere, and it still would have been the same standard. The trees and leaves would have changed, but that's it.